a healthy scratch in the season opener in Montreal. I remember sitting up in the
Right.
Bell Center and looking across. There's Bobby McMahon in a suit, like not a little bit sour for sure. You know, he signed a nice new contract extension, biggest one of his life, and he can't get in the opening night lineup. But now, you know, this guy is a force, and his speed. The Leafs don't have a lot of fast guys. Bobby McMahon's speed works really well with Domi's vision. So I understand Berube not breaking up. I'm sure Nylander's like, I need Domi. I can't play with Camp or Holmberg. But, you know, you do have a good thing with that third line. I'm fine with them keeping it together as long as they're running hot.
One more for me, Luke, and we'll let you go. And that is the goaltending. A month ago, we were like talking about the Leaf goaltending being as good as we've seen like in 20 years, 25 years. Everything was humming. Sammy looked every day like he gave birth. Okay? Now it's
I don't know.
proud.
What?
Just
Oh,
proud.
proud.
Like he just gave birth, Sam. Like you're a very proud mama. Okay? Now it's come down to earth a little bit. Stolars is out. Murray didn't have a very good game and got sent down, probably to get more games in the American Hockey League. And now you got Joseph Woll. It's not a back-to-back scenario. I'm sure the Leafs are hoping that he plays both games. But how critical are these next two games for Joseph Woll and where the goaltending goes from here on in? Fork in the road a little bit for maybe the Leaf goaltending this week?
Yeah, and Joseph Woll should see this as an opportunity because Anthony Stolarz isn't coming back for a few more weeks still. Like, he's got to grab this thing. When Matt Murray goes in the net, I think the Leafs got to score 4 minimum. Like, I don't have faith in him, and I'm sure they see it too, right? Like, after the game, Berube's like, I'm sure he'd like a couple back. Well, you can't give up 2 bad ones that you want back every night. So this is Joseph Woll's chance, right? The team has invested in him. He's got this window of opportunity to really take the net and run with it. The question has always been about, can he handle a heavy workload? He hasn't done it yet. January is the perfect month. You know, if he plays well, then they don't have to rush Stolarz back before the Four Nations. Just, you don't have a ton of back-to-backs. I think there's only one in January. Just Joseph Woll, take it and run with it. The Leafs used to have the best team save percentage in the East. They've fallen in that regard since Stolarz went down. And some of that, most of that is probably Murray, but some of it is on Woll. He's been okay. He hasn't been stellar. He has another level to get to. He's got, you know, the Islanders who aren't, you know, offensive juggernaut by any means. This is a good first step for him to get on the right track.
Luke, really appreciate it. Go back to playing with your gifts, I think, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I got another Christmas dinner at my mother-in-law's.
Oh,
Just keep
There you
coming.
go.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
Keep it going.
Okay.
All right,
Appreciate
see you,
your
Luke.
time
Thanks,
as
man.
always, man. Thanks for doing this. Luke Fox,
Okay.
Sportsnet.ca.
Take care.
All right, proud mama.
What?
Where are you with the goaltending right now?
It sucks. I mean, I love watching Stolarz.
Doesn't take long, eh?
Well, Stolarz
He was happy a month ago.
I remember that.
Stolarz is so good. Like, he was just so good and so fun to watch and such a great, exciting style and just good.
Yeah.
He was good.
Star. Like a star. He was a total star goalie and he's disappeared. And I think you're seeing a bit of the workload weigh on Woll. I don't think he's been bad by any stretch, but he definitely hasn't been excellent, kind of like Luke said. And then Matt Murray, I haven't enjoyed it through 2.
I haven't enjoyed it.
I don't think a lot of Leaf
It's so
fans
funny,
have.
the margins are so thin. But, like, you know, when you've been down and out and you're working your way back, a couple of bad goals, that's enough for the next guy to get a chance.
Yeah, like I think those 2 games that I've seen from Murray, like I said earlier in our Leafs hour, I think it's time to try Hildeby again in the next
Team save
back-to-back.
percentage, the Leafs 7th in the NHL right now. So still pretty good.
That is a kind of a mind-blowing stat that the Leafs haven't got a goal
It's
from
insane.
one defenseman all month.
I know. I mean, I know I've seen some of the stuff that you're working on for the broadcast tomorrow, but some of that, Riley, you've got some question marks about.
I do believe that the first guy that knows that stat is Morgan Riley.
Yeah.
And
He wants to
there's such a fine line between coming to the rink and doing what the coach asks you to do and play safe and don't take any chances. But like they need to generate offense, and that is Morgan's job.
Yeah, you look at the other
First
guys in
and
the
foremost.
decor. He is the guy that is supposed to do it.
He's gotta find something here to kind of get it going.
Yeah. There can be a little bit of an offensive guy in every pair, the OEL or Timmins or Riley. It's almost like you need different rules for those guys where you say, you can leave the blue line, go in, circle in the offensive zone.
Well, they got one of those. His name's Willie Nylander.
Yeah.
Different rules.
He only left twice.
But his
But that's
power,
a conversation for another day,
his
by the
power
way.
play different rules are crazy.
Crazy.
He hasn't scored a goal in that second power play unit. And they're just like, stay. We don't know.
Just let him do it.
Yeah.
Anything he wants. All right. We're just getting warmed up here on our last show of the year. We go national next on the Real Kipper and Bourne Show.
The Leafs center dilemma: who can strengthen the roster? If you're a Toronto Maple Leafs fan like me, you know the team's center depth has been a constant concern this season. With Austin Matthews set to return from a mysterious upper body injury next week, the excitement of having our star back is palpable. However, there are still serious issues to address in the center position to keep the team competitive and, of course, fuel our playoff dreams. David Kampf, a key piece in the center rotation, is sidelined with a lower body injury. As if that weren't enough, Kalle Jarnkrok is still recovering from surgery, leaving another gap in the lineup. Max Domi, expected to be a versatile asset, has been placed on injured reserve, further aggravating the situation after missing consecutive practices due to lingering pains. To sum it up, the Leafs are missing 4 functional centers, and the pressure to act is mounting. James Myrtle, a respected Leafs analyst and contributor to The Athletic, highlighted a series of potential trade targets to address this dilemma during his appearance on the J.D. Bunkies podcast. Among the names mentioned, 2 stood out: Nick Jugstad and, for the nostalgic fans, a possible reunion with Ryan O'Reilly. Jugstad seems to be Myrtle's favorite, and for good reason. The player, who signed a 2-year deal with the Utah Hockey Club last offseason, carries a manageable $2.1 million cap hit, which is essential for a team as salary cap-strapped as the Leafs. Additionally, standing at 6 feet 6 inches and weighing 205 pounds, he would bring not only physicality but also consistent offensive contributions. Jugstad is the most viable option for the Leafs right now, Myrtle stated on the podcast. And he's right. Experienced and versatile, Jugstad has played for several teams, including the Florida Panthers, Pittsburgh Penguins, Minnesota Wild, and Edmonton Oilers, and could quickly adapt to the Leafs' dynamic. With an affordable contract and a solid track record, he offers a practical solution without sacrificing too many future assets. However, it's impossible to ignore the possibility of a Ryan O'Reilly return. Yes, we know he chose the Nashville Predators last summer in search of a quieter environment, but the Leafs management still holds him in high regard. The 2019 Stanley Cup winning captain with the St. Louis Blues is precisely the type of player any contender would love to have on their roster. However, the cost of bringing him back would be steep, both in terms of trade assets and cap space adjustments, as Nashville or a third team would need to retain part of his salary. I don't think the O'Reilly scenario is entirely out of reach, Myrtle said, showing that there's optimism within the organization. However, there are doubts about how much it's worth investing in a 33-year-old player, even with his impeccable credentials. Meanwhile, cheaper internal options like Steven Lorentz, Connor Dewar, Pontus Holmberg, and Fraser Minton have been mentioned. But let's be honest, these names might serve as short-term stopgaps, but they're far from offering the stability and impact the team needs. The pressure is all on GM Brad Treliving. He knows that despite the Leafs' solid performance so far, the center position is crucial to sustaining any championship aspirations. With the trade deadline approaching, Treliving has likely intensified his efforts to finalize a deal. And we, the fans, are eagerly awaiting good news. For now, all we can do is trust that the team can weather this tough phase and hope a solution, whether it's Jugstad, O'Reilly, or another name, arrives before things spiral out of control. After all, as we all know, the Leafs don't have the luxury of wasting another season with a promising but incomplete roster. The time to act is now. The Leafs center dilemma, expanding on the potential solutions. The Toronto Maple Leafs, amidst another promising yet tumultuous season, face one of their most pressing challenges, addressing a depleted center lineup that threatens to derail their momentum. While the return of Austin Matthews is a beacon of hope, the broader picture remains dire, requiring urgent action from the front office. With Kampf, Jarnkrok, and Domi sidelined, the team's depth has been stretched thin. The immediate impact is clear on both ends of the ice. Defensively, the Leafs are struggling to suppress opposing top lines without reliable two-way centers. Offensively, puck distribution and power play setups have been less dynamic, as the makeshift lineups lack the same chemistry. This imbalance underscores the necessity for reinforcements. Nick Jugstad, as highlighted by James Myrtle, presents the most realistic trade option. His affordable contract and towering physical presence align perfectly with the Leafs' needs. Beyond his imposing stature, Jugstad brings versatility. He can play both center and wing, a flexibility that would allow head coach Sheldon Keefe to adjust the lineup dynamically. However, acquiring Jugstad isn't without complications. The Utah Hockey Club, formerly the Arizona Coyotes, is currently rebuilding but may still demand a premium return for their experienced forward. The Leafs will likely need to part with a mid-tier prospect or draft pick to make the deal work. With their prospect pool already thin, Treliving faces a tough decision. Another name that excites fans and analysts alike is Ryan O'Reilly. The former Conn Smythe winner and Stanley Cup champion has a proven track record of elevating teams in high-stakes situations. His leadership during his brief stint with Toronto last season left a lasting impression. Yet, the Predators have little incentive to move him unless the offer is overwhelming. Should the Leafs pursue O'Reilly, it would almost certainly require a multi-asset package. A first-round pick and a promising young player like Nick Robertson might need to be part of the conversation. Additionally, Nashville would have to retain salary, a process that often involves a third-party team to facilitate. The logistics are challenging but not insurmountable. Internal options like Pontus Holmberg and Fraser Minton offer short-term relief but lack the experience needed for a deep playoff run. Holmberg has shown flashes of potential, but his limited NHL exposure raises questions about his readiness for a consistent role. Minton, while promising, is still developing and would be better served continuing his growth in the minors. A wildcard option could be exploring European leagues or waiver claims to unearth an overlooked talent. Teams like the Vegas Golden Knights and Colorado Avalanche have found gems in unconventional ways, and the Leafs scouting department may need to cast a wider net to uncover an affordable, immediate solution. Another factor complicating the Leafs' decisions is the looming salary cap crunch. With Matthews' extension set to kick in soon, Toronto must be mindful of every financial commitment. Adding a high-priced center now could limit flexibility during the off-season, forcing Treliving to juggle short-term needs against long-term sustainability. Trade timing will also play a pivotal role. Acting quickly could stabilize the team and prevent further slip-ups in the standings, but it may come at the cost of negotiating leverage. Alternatively, waiting closer to the deadline could yield better deals as selling teams grow more desperate. The risk, however, is enduring several more weeks of uncertainty. Sheldon Keefe's role in navigating this storm can't be overstated. His ability to extract maximum effort from an injury-riddled lineup will be crucial. Keefe has already experimented with unconventional line combinations, but the lack of true centers limits his tactical options. A new acquisition would provide the stability he needs to implement a more structured game plan. The Leafs locker room has remained resilient through adversity, with veterans like John Tavares and Morgan Rielly stepping up as vocal leaders. However, even their efforts may not be enough to overcome the absence of key personnel. Reinforcements are not just a luxury, they're a necessity. For fans, the anxiety is palpable. After years of playoff heartbreak, this season feels like another chapter in the saga of unmet expectations. Yet, there's cautious optimism. The team has shown glimpses of brilliance, and the addition of a solid center could be the missing piece that transforms them from contenders to genuine threats. As the trade rumors swirl, one thing is certain: the next few weeks will be critical in shaping the Leafs season. Whether it's Jugstad, O'Reilly, or an unexpected name, the decision made by Brad Treliving and his staff could define not just this campaign, but the team's trajectory for years to come. For now, we wait, hopeful that the Leafs will seize the moment and finally deliver on their immense potential. Will the Leafs make their move? As the speculation intensifies, the Leafs fan base is holding its collective breath, waiting for signs of a breakthrough.